We got our next guest ready to come on right now. An absolute true legend in the combat sports world. One of the best lightweights to ever step foot in an MMA cage. And after all these fights and all this success in his MMA career, he's coming over to the fastest growing sport in the combat sports world, bare knuckle, making his debut against Chad Mendes. I really thought when I heard that they were bringing in Eddie, I really thought it was going to be Mike Perry, to be honest with you. I really did. I thought Perry and Alvarez, but you know what? This was exciting too.
Yep.
Chad Mendes, Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King. Welcome to the Mike and Mish Show.
What is up, fellas?
What's up, man? How are you?
Dude, look at this wall. Look at this wall. Like we just said it. You know, you got all that stuff, man. You got all that stuff. I mean, I got a Wu-Tang.
Things, aren't they neat?
Those are really neat and shiny things in the back. I really like it.
You've been just collecting shiny things all your career, man.
These guys are my inspiration right here.
Oh man,
Ninja Turtles. Dudes. Oh man, you know what? I hear you on that one.
Fantastic.
Hey, let me ask you this: when they made the newer Ninja Turtle movies, the Out of the Shadows and the other one, did you like those?
Yeah, pretty dope. They were all right.
I thought they were awesome too. Like I think they got a bad rap, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe because Michael Bay made them.
If you've always been a fan, then anything that they remake like that is going to kind of bring out, you know, the kid in you. I enjoyed it.
You know, I have an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, and we have all those exact toys in this house, and we have those size ones, and like there's like bigger size ones too. They have
these guys.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles. Yeah,
dude, I think these guys are the reason I started this. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh, really? Were you watching that and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers before school, and then you're like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go out and fight bad guys. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, the Rangers were cool. The Rangers are more like maybe my little brothers there, but like I was more like the Turtles, Karate Kid, Rocky, that kind of. Yes. I was born in '84, so like that was a thing. But Turtles, I remember being 8 years old. I had Turtle Power carved in the back of my head. It was my haircut.
Nice.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Had the sewer, the Technodrome, all that stuff.
All right, fellas, you got your shine. Get out of
here. Dude, hey, you know, like we said, and I know this is gonna sound fucking stupid or whatever, but it's an honor to see you on the show here because you are a true legend in the game in combat sports, and like we've been watching you forever. Dude, I remember watching you beat the shit out of a couple kids on Bully Beatdown back in the day, and then like you went on to become the Bellator champion, and then you came over to the UFC, and like I was saying to Mike yesterday, I'm like, I think he was the first import from Bellator that really made an impact in the UFC. There was other guys that had come over in the past, but they just didn't pan out the way everybody wanted them to. But not you. You went over there and you proved that you were one of the best in the world, and you went on to win a title, and we all know the whole story. So it is really cool to have you on here. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I think the first one was the first shot they took was Hector Lombard. I remember when he went over, hearing what he got as far as money, and I'm like, shit, man. Like they paid Hector pretty damn good. And I remember being in the room with Dana, kind of pitching, you know, what I would want, you know, because I'd heard what Hector got. And he's like, Hector didn't get that much. I'm like, yes, he did. I know he did. But no. Yeah, Hector was probably one of the first to kind of cross over, and I thought he'd do well, but like, I don't know, man. You never know. It's a little bit of timing, a little bit of luck, a little bit of everything. You need the pixie dust. You need it all when you go over and do it. And on top of that, hard work, consistency. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult life. It's difficult to win world titles. It's difficult to stay excited about the whole thing. So it's a journey. You gotta learn and enjoy the suck, you know?
Yeah. Enjoying the suck. I mean, I don't know if you know this, that me and him are military. So embracing the suck is a very big part of our life. Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I'm glad I used embrace the suck. That's what it is.
Embrace the suck, dude. You know,
like one of the biggest quotes there. I'm going to embrace the suck tomorrow because we have drill.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So, man, you just talked about, the long road and all the hard work and trying to stay and try to keep yourself excited. Like you've been there and done it all. Now here you are. And I was saying, like the first thing that I thought in my head when they announced that they signed you was what took so long. That was the first sentence that popped into my head. What took so long? Because being a Philly guy, Dave's from Philly, they're based out of Philly. I thought this was like a no-brainer, like as soon as you were available. But here you are. Obviously this is exciting for you.
It wasn't long after I was available. I think it was more so I became available. I went into the market. I got a couple offers, but it was more opponent. You know what I mean? Like I got money offers, but I was making a lot of money in Asia. I was making anywhere outside the UFC. I was making a lot of money. So it was more about me sitting down with myself and saying, what do you want? Besides money, what is it that you want? What is it that's going to wake you up early, go to bed late, and feel competitive? Like feel like you want to be competitive and you want to. So like I had to have that conversation with myself, and it was basically like, hey, don't even sign with anyone until you feel excited and fans feel excited for what's about to happen. So like when Dave came to me with, and originally you were right. Originally I thought it was going to be Mike Perry. I thought that's kind of what I thought we're going to go for the biggest fight outside of the biggest organizations there is with the biggest names. And at the time that would have been Mike Perry. But they're like, no, it's going to be Chad. And I actually think there's a part of me that thinks Chad might be he's a harder matchup than Perry. Mike Perry's a beast in itself, but like for me, speed is more scary than strength and brawn and power. Speed is scarier. That's a scarier attribute for me in fighting. I think that's the best attribute that you could have in fighting is speed and the ability to be explosive and explode and be fast. So Chad's dangerous. He's a dangerous opponent, and they're the opponents that every time, almost in my career when I think back, like it's the really dangerous guys that I usually knock out. Like the ones that I'm just I have a little bit afraid of, a little bit. I get that fear in me, and then once that fear hits me, it's like a drug. It's like my eyes open wide, and I'm getting my kill mode. So these other guys, I know it's been like the Justin Gaethjes, the RDAs, the Anthony Pettis's, like all these dangerous guys always just kind of get me up. So when they said Chad, I'm like, hell yeah, like that. That's the guy right now.
You just mentioned Anthony Pettis. He just fought Roy Jones Jr. in a game bred boxing event. Did anybody from them? Because Jorge's bringing all kinds of fucking names into that organization and throwing the gloves on people that hadn't had boxing matches in their career up to that point. Yeah. That last card that he built was fucking crazy.
It was
the
fun.
Names that he got. It was fun. It was a bunch of names that like you couldn't believe that were on there. Did anybody ever reach out to you about maybe going doing some game bred boxing?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a thing. You know what I mean? As long as you're a free agent, you're going to have conversations with everyone. I mean, like every company's going to reach out. They're going to pitch you something, but it's really just about give me an opponent, give me a date, and let's settle on a number. And until we do that, then everything else is just talk. You know what I mean? It's just we're just kind of being hypothetical about everything. So like I'm up for anything, but like honestly, right now, like my relationship with Dave Feldman and the people at Bare Knuckles has been incredible. The training and for this fight in particular, it's been some of the best training, some of the funnest that me and Coach Mark Henry and Ray Robinson, my cornerman, it's some of the funnest coaching and teamwork that we've done in a long, long time, just because we only got to worry about boxing. And it's a lot easier to become good at something and feel like you're improving and have a real fast growth rate when you're just focused on one art. I feel like it like in retrospect, I'm like, I probably should have, like, during my career just been like, hey, let me just do striking for 2 years, you know, like maybe do some K1 or because that it ups your level. I feel like I've leveled up in this training camp immensely, just like focusing purely on one art. And
would you say that less wear and tear on your body as well, because you're not rolling around, you're not grappling, you're not slamming each other, you know what I mean? It's probably a huge difference.
Big time. My recovery, my sleep, my ability to train more often. It's all because you're not like when you grapple and kick, that's where all the injuries happen. Grappling and kicking, that's where you really fuck yourself up. And it's like when you eliminate them two, man, and you just box, like boxing just seems like, I don't know, that's the fun part. It's like it feels like a sport now. Fighting's not a sport. This feels like more like a sport where I'm smiling more often. You know,
that's awesome.
The life of an MMA fighter isn't full of smiling, you know?
Yeah. It's like a little bit of a relief, even though you're going into a bare knuckle fight, but you're like, you know what? I don't have to do all these other things. So that's pretty cool. You know, are you bringing in, or have you brought in, I should say, any bare knuckle fighters, or talk to anybody about technique and different things? Because I mention this often, and we talk about the sport of bare knuckle not being exactly like boxing. It's a little bit different, the pace of it, and obviously the rounds are shorter, so people tend to really just go at it, you know?
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, I think Chad at the press conference mentioned something like, I feel like I got the experience because I've been in there before, and I just like hitting someone with a bare fist is a lot different. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been in like 100 street fights before I ever put on a set of gloves ever. So like in my life, before I ever put on an MMA glove or any kind of glove, my hands were wrecked before I ever started my career. From 17 to 21, I was in street fights almost every other weekend in Philadelphia and bullshit with my friends and drinking at bars and underage, like all the bullshit. I'm like, I never had gloves. So like, for you to think that you have some kind of edge on me because you had one fight without gloves, are you fucking crazy? I'm like,
and you know what, man, like, one thing that you've always like displayed throughout your entire career is your hands. Like, you have fucking great hands and your ability to take a shot and keep going forward. Like, there's not many guys that have done it as long and as successful as you have. So I really don't, I can't imagine, and no offense to Chad, but his one fight, and no offense to Fames either, but he fought Fames. I mean, and like, let's be honest, that he probably shouldn't have been fighting Joshua Alvarez, another Alvarez, by the way. Joshua Alvarez in his first fight in BKFC. They probably should have gave him a bigger name, a little better guy. But I feel like they kind of like served him up, Fames. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but I do feel that way.
No, absolutely. He wanted to dip his toes in, and it's like I get it.
Yeah,
you want to dip your toes in, but like when I think it was generous on bare knuckle. I don't know what Chad was paid for his first fight, but that's generous. I would love to be. I would have loved to give me a sacrificial lamb. Give me 10 of them. Like I would love that at this point in my career. But the truth is, like, when you're getting paid big money, one, the fight's got to be big, and two, like, competitively, when you wake up at night and when you wake up in the morning and go to bed at night, it's like, I want to feel something. I want to feel afraid. I want to feel excited. Like, I do this because I want to feel something. If I don't want to feel anything, I'll just be a fan. You know, I'll just sit and watch fights on the weekend. I want to feel something. So, like, give me an opponent that does that for me, that makes me feel something. And, you know, I think that was generous of bare knuckle to give him that. You know what I mean? Like,
they're definitely building a roster. And if you know, after this fight are sticking around for a while, I mean, I can think of a few right off the rip. We already mentioned Mike Perry, but like Luis Palomino has really succeeded in the BKFC at 155 and 165. I know this fight is at 165, correct?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I know you probably know Luis Palomino, right?
I love Luis.
Yeah, Luis would be
respect for Luis, veteran, right. Awesome. Love
you and him would be an amazing fight. There's a few out there that like. There's a new guy named Gogo Slaveski. He's like 5 or 6-0 right now in BKFC. He's really young. He's your type of guy, like likes to get in there and get dirty and sling hands, and he's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to take one to give one. You know what I mean? Like, I could see some really good fights for you in the future after this one. So I hope, hopefully you fall in love with it like everyone else does.
I would love for them to bring in some big names, but like, oh, you were asked about like, have I confided in any bare knuckle fighters or like spoke with them? But like, yeah, the last 2 weeks, I linked up with Jimmy Rivera. He's always been a fucking massive, awesome competitor. We've cross-trained together in the past, not me and him, but their team and our team. I actually cross-trained with Julio Arce, like the guy, like their whole crew there would come and train with me, Frankie, Marlon, and I got to go up there, and me and Jimmy got in some epic, awesome rounds. The last 2 weeks we got together, and he was able to give me some good insight on like kind of the feel and some of the rules and some of the stuff, and that was awesome. On top of giving me great competitive rounds, it was a really good connection to go up there. And I'm really thankful to Jimmy just for being like, hell yeah, come on up. Let's get it on. So that was awesome.
He's a fucking beast. I know you probably watched his first fight in the BKFC. Yep. The kid that he was matched up with is Howard Davis. Howard's like 6'3". He's like a 6'3", 145er with like a 77-inch reach. And like Jimmy's, Jimmy's this little guy, and Jimmy was just right inside on him, making it a dirty ass fight the whole time. They went to a draw. I wish they would have run that one back, but hopefully we see him back in there. That's pretty awesome that you guys got together.
Yeah, I hope he does too, because he's got a lot in him, man. That guy's a beast. And we had some great sparring. He's strong as hell. He stays nice and tight. He throws good combinations. So I thought Jimmy's going to be a really good look and feel for Chad. Same kind of body type, same sort of style. I really liked, I thought that was smart of my coach and generous of Jimmy for saying, yeah, let's get some rounds together.
Yeah, definitely very smart. You can totally picture the similarities between the two of those guys. Now, you mentioned earlier about speed and power and stuff like that and explosiveness. Chad is one of the faster power, one of the faster guys that still packs a ton of power.
Yeah.
Would you, and you just trained with Jimmy, like compared to somebody in your past, have you ever fought somebody that's, 5'6" and built like a fucking refrigerator like this before that has the speed still? I'm trying to think of somebody.
Yeah, Chandler.
Chandler's a little bigger though, isn't he? I don't know. Maybe
not. Chandler's probably
close.
A bigger version of Chad, like stronger, probably just as explosive, if not more explosive. Tatsuya Kawajiri is probably same style, same kind of raw power, explosiveness. I don't know. If I thought back, I got so many damn fights, so many guys. If I thought about the style that I went against before, I definitely went against it before, on top of just training partners that I've had. It's not like Chad like offers this like
something new,
incredible puzzle that just can't be figured out. I mean, the guy's an athlete. He's explosive. He loves his supplements, and that's just Chad. That's what he does. So,
Hey, you got to watch out for that blast double too, man.
Yeah,
I think he shot. I think I'm pretty sure he shot in on Fame.
What was I didn't understand what that was. I'm like,
I don't know. I think he got confused for a second. I think he forgot where the hell he was at. This past the past BKFC event
in Virginia,
the dude that fought for Bellator for a long time, his name slipped my mind, but he's winning the first 2 rounds of this bare knuckle fight. He's cracking his opponent left and right. He's doing really well. 3rd round comes around, he gets popped in the chin with an overhand right that just fucking puts him on his ass. He gets up, shoots for a double leg, gets swung over to the ropes, throws a spinning back kick, kicks the dude in the stomach.
And
they're like, all hell's breaking loose. We're like down there at the arena, and we're like, what the fuck is Pat Casey? Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It was a wild fight, really. The whole fight was kind of crazy because he was winning the fight. He was winning the fight at that point. He had knocked the other guy down 3 times, knocked his mouthpiece like
into the crowd.
Yeah, like rose in. And they had to go grab that thing. It was pretty nutty. I wanted to ask you, before being approached to fight for BKFC, were you a BKFC fan? Did you follow the sport at all? Or was it just kind of like, hey, a couple of fights
honestly,
here and there?
Dave invited me to, I was in Florida, and Dave invited me to an event in Hollywood at the Hard Rock there. And that's one of my favorite places to, during my career, I probably fought there about 3 or 4 times. One of my favorite venues because like my friends would come
and
we'd fight, we'd hang out there. They had the pool bar, like all the cool stuff. So like I went, and as soon as I went, I see Shaq was there. It was a star-studded event, and every single fight was incredible. So it was like you didn't know the guy, you didn't have. The cool thing is you don't have to know anyone. So it's like I don't care. We don't need to build a story on this guy and he was poor from this country and he made money. We don't need it. We don't even need to hear the story. Just have the 2 guys fight. And I promise you, you're not going to be able to take your eyes off it. Because like the fights, they're pretty quick. You know, they're all under 5 minutes, 4 minutes or so. You're going to land one big clean shot. Someone's going to get cut wide open or dropped. And it's hard to be resilient, you know, because the damage that's done in a short amount of time it's a lot. So I like how they get figured out quickly.
There's not a whole lot of dog and pony show in the middle, you know?
And if you get a dog fight, if you end up getting a dog fight, it's like, hell yeah, it gets crazy. It gets a little bloody in there. But like for the most part, they're figured out quick. Every single shot is like, whoa. It's like reminds you a little bit of the Coliseum where they're swinging axes and whatever. Anything could be a kill shot, you know?
Yeah. Just the sound of that professional fighter hitting somebody else in the face with a bare fist in a stadium that's like pretty quiet at that moment. And it is so loud. That's just like a very distinct sound that if people hear that live, you can't explain it.
When we were in Denver, the first time they were out there, that kid Vandermeer, I forget what his first name is. Vandermeer started the card off. Keegan Vandermeer, young kid making his pro debut, I believe. He was he had never even fought pro anywhere. He made his pro debut in BKFC. He hit this kid with a right hand that sounded like a wooden baseball bat breaking, like hitting a home run. The crack was so loud in that arena. We were all like looking at each other like, what the fuck was that? Like he must have shattered his hand or busted the dude's skull or something like that. It was the loudest I've ever heard somebody land a punch on someone. It was just absolutely, I don't know if just
I believe he did break his hand, and that's what we actually heard. Yeah.
Holy shit. It was insane. And like people like that were behind the curtain could hear it, and they were like, yo, what was
that? Yeah.
We were like, yeah, that was that kid busting that dude's side of his head open.
Like that's been my argument with like people who like, I'm like, whoa, you're doing bare knuckle, that's crazy. Like for me, I'm like, so there's a like if you fight, you really fight, and you've been hit with a glove or hit whatever. Tell me the difference. Tell me what the difference really is. If I have a really good hand wrap guy wrap my hand in a beautiful wrap and a cast throw a 4-ounce piece of leather over it, and then I smack someone with that. I've been arguing with people that would probably have more of a damage and impact and not ever have a chance of hurting me, the guy who's punching, because of how well wrapped my hands are. Damn near kiss it. So like the integrity of something like that would be a lot greater than the integrity of my bare fist. So like I need to be more tactical, more accurate, and I got to be cleaner with my shots when I have a bare fist than what I would have to if you're going to wrap them, throw a piece of 4-ounce leather on them, and then let me go after it. So like I just argue with people like I don't know if there's any less. I don't know if there's any more or less danger involved. I think it's just being tactical about what you're doing, not closing your eyes and winging shots. Like you have to pick your shots more. You got to be cleaner. You got to be more accurate.
And you're probably willing to throw 10 times more punches when you have those wraps and those gloves on your hands. Like you're going to be more particular about when you throw your shots, because you just said you want them to be more precise and you want them to be on point. When you got the gloves on, you might be a little more wild with some of them at times. And you're in a fight, in a bare knuckle fight where you might throw 45, 60 punches. That same amount of time in an MMA fight, you might have thrown 140. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a crazy science. It's a big study that needs to like continue to be done. I know they've been studying the dangers of the different sports, and everything's coming up that like brain injuries are the lowest in this sport compared to anything else. Most of it's all superficial, fractures and cuts that all heal. You know what I mean?
Cosmetic damage.
Your brain's not getting rattled around 290 times a fight.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I'd like, maybe I'm selling it to myself, but like a part of me feels safer. Like a part of me feels like, look, if a guy goes to punch me and he has a 4-ounce glove on with a beautiful wrap, a nice tight wrap, and I take that to the head, and there's absolutely almost zero chance that he's going to break his hand. I'd rather him hit me with a bare fist, where at least if he's not accurate and he's closing his eyes, maybe he smashes his hand and can no longer fight. Like I'd rather, like, that, and that's what he would get for not being a little more tactical and accurate with his shots. So like, I think there's a little more give and take in this, where in MMA it's like, I don't know, you can afford to be a little sloppy and get away with more.
I like to kind of compare it to like, playing pickup football with your friends when you were younger. No pads, you're just out on the field hitting each other. You can hit each other really hard if you want to, but you're going to get hurt pretty bad. But if you play for a high school team and you have those fucking pads on, you are going 100% all the time into somebody. It does not matter. You're going to go at them as hard as you can. If you do that with no pads, you're probably not going to do it again after that.
Yeah, you
end up hurting yourself.
2 bare heads. You're not gonna do too many of them.
Yeah.
Ah, man, I love it. I cannot wait for this fight next week. When your name came up in the free agent market, and we heard that we had talked to David, I want to
what? Funny story, Kyle.
Back in Denver.
That was in Denver.
It was in Denver.
It was in Denver. It was at the weigh-ins. After the weigh-ins were over, David Feldman had stopped to say hi to us, and we had a quick conversation. And because you were a free agent, of course, we had to be like, hey, what's going on? You're going to get Eddie Alvarez. And he was like, what do you guys think? Would you like to see him? And he's got to play. He probably already knew in his head what was going on, but he's playing with us a little bit, and we're like, yeah, you should do this. That's what, it would be great. And, that's in Denver. And here we are in Denver, and you're fighting.
Yes,
that was October.
It was meant to be. I'm telling you, man, we're really excited. We'll be out there. We're going to be out there. I think they're going to do a press conference on Thursday, and we'll see you there at the weigh-ins as well. Yep. Scott Farley in the comment section, he manages Elvin Brito. He mentioned
Elvin Brito, 165er.
Elvin's another top 165er. That'd be exciting for you. Before we let you go, I want to ask you some not so bare knuckle related questions. This weekend, there's a gigantic boxing match coming up. Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Who do you see winning this one, and how do you think that one goes down?
I just don't see Tank losing. I just when I look at the matchup and I look at both guys, I don't see Tank losing anyone in that division right now. I know Ryan's fast and this and that. I don't see him being able to do anything substantial to Tank. And I think Tank eventually, like maybe Ryan wins the first 3 because of his speed, the same way a Mayweather would. Like you just got to give away the first 3 rounds because of how fast the guy is. But I think once the fight settles in and Tank's able to find his range and start walking him down, I think he's gonna land a shot and he's gonna do some damage on Ryan eventually.
I feel like that's the overwhelming consensus on this fight right here. Obviously, Ryan Garcia is very fast and he's a good boxer. He's got a lot of technical skill as well, but Tank's Tank, and he's like top of the world right now. So
yeah,
we'll see. I was listening to an interview.
What are the odds?
The odds are Davis -275, Garcia +200. This says as of April 17th. So yeah,
that's 3 days ago.
That sounds about right to me. I think that's a good number.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about that one as well. Here we go. Number 2.
Philly
guy.
What is your favorite Rocky movie and why?
I'm gonna say the first. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say Creed. Actually,
First Creed.
Yeah, the first Creed. So the first Creed, like all of them, even the first was filmed in Kensington, and that's where I grew up. That's the neighborhood I grew up in. The film itself is most of the streets I grew up on and played on and whatever. But in the movie Creed, they go in the Front Street boxing gym, and there's a scene where the kids are on the 4-wheelers and they're going up and down that street. That's Clearfield Street. My school was right there. I would walk down Clearfield and I'd walk the Front Street boxing gym and walk up the steps. And that was my very first fight gym ever. And
that's awesome.
The Padman Rick that's in the film, Padman, he passed. God rest his soul. He passed like a few years ago. I worked with the Padman. I used to pay him, used to work with him, but like I begun my fighting, like learning a discipline right up in that gym at Front Street Boxing Gym. And Creed finally kind of put that boxing gym on the map, and that's Front Street Boxing Gym. That was cool.
Phenomenal. That scene too, man. Like I took my wife to that movie, and she's definitely not the kind of person to want to watch a Rocky movie or any kind of movie like that. But I dragged my wife there. And that scene when Adonis Creed is running and all the kids are on the 4-wheelers behind him was like an ode to the original, and the Rocky music's playing and they go out in the street and Rocky's up in the window. I swear to God, I was like fucking this close to happy crying. like a little girl. I was like, man, this is so fucking that music, the Rocky music is like the greatest soundtrack.
I don't know how they filmed in that area. Like I walked that area with Ariel Hawani just to show him where I grew up and kind of we walked.
I remember that.
But during that interview, my old wrestling coach who's on SWAT or on undercover, they followed us. That area is like ridden with it's like the #1 heroin in the country is sold left and right there. It's like it's a very dangerous, very drug ridden, it's a terrible area.
Wow.
Yeah, it's too bad.
But that gym is still there.
Wow.
That gym is a safe haven for all the kids in the neighborhood, and it's pretty cool to see them still taking in kids from the neighborhood so they have somewhere to go to kind of train.
That's awesome, man. I remember that interview with Ariel. Like Ariel was like nervous the whole time. It was funny as hell. All right, number 3. Hey, if you could run back a fight from your MMA career over here in boxing, in bare knuckle, shed the gloves, pull someone in that you had fought once before in MMA, but run it back one more time with the gloves off this time, who would you want to bring over?
I mean, I think I'd want to do who the fans would want the most. Look, if I could run any fight back, I'd want to run Conor back, the Conor fight, because I just felt like I left so much on the table in this fight. But I definitely wouldn't want to do it in a boxing fight. I just feel like boxing was he's the better striker, better boxer. But like I would like to run that fight back, take him down, and beat him up like I originally planned. But a fight like that, I think a bare knuckle fight that I'd like to do again, that I think fans would go crazy for, would be me and Justin Gaethje. I think that would be like fight porn for the world to watch.
When we were in Denver last time, he was there and he was sitting ringside. So he might be there again.
Oh, he definitely will. And I'm cool as hell with Justin. I went out to I'm good friends with Kamaru Usman, and I went out to help him for a fight. And me and Justin got the cross train, and we hung out at his house and played pool. We're on great terms. He's a good dude, real good dude, and he's actually my favorite fighter to watch. Like, regardless if I fought him, regardless of anything, Justin Gaethje is my favorite fighter to watch on TV. Always. Right. I don't even think there's a close second.
He was awesome. He did an interview. Kyle interviewed him while we were there, and so did Rose. He said, bare knuckle, never. Rose said, never say never. So you never know, I guess. And
I think you can talk Justin into doing it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? A little friendly battle there, right?
I think he's easily convinced. Just show him a good check, and I think he'll jump right in.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. We would love, absolutely. You said it, fight porn. That would be fucking insane. We would all love to see that. Here we go. This is a tough one for you.
Who has the best Philly cheesesteak?
Where do we go? Is he frozen? Oh, them?
Malt House.
Hear that? This is I'm partnered with some bar restaurants. And I think by far, actually, our cheesesteak, it's called Joseph's, and it's a pizza shop right around Rockledge area, and Rockledge, PA. Right, it's like right on the cusp, right at Philly. Their cheesesteak at Joseph's can compete with the best cheesesteaks in all of Philadelphia by far.
So it was Joseph's, you said, and
called Joseph's, yeah, and it's right. It's in Philly. It's right on the border. Right on the border.
We'll have to look that up when we go there. And we'll hit up the Malt House too.
If you guys are ever, just call me and I'll get you set up.
Nice. Man. Awesome.
All right. Last question for you, Eddie, and then we're going to let you get up out of here because we don't want to take too much of your time. If they were ever to resurrect the show, Bully Beatdown, and they asked you to come host this thing, would you bring back Bully Beatdown? That show was fucking amazing. I loved it. I loved everything about it. What do you think about that?
I talk to anyone who has production or camera experience about that, and I tell them, I'm like, yo, dude, we have to figure out a way to resurrect that. I think Guy Fieri came and did he did like a review and did at our place at our restaurant, and I was talking to his producer and his camera guys, telling them about it. Like I just think it's something that's needed right now on the internet. Like, I don't know who wouldn't watch it. I thought the show was awesome. I think Jason Mayhem was a huge part of their success. And you just need to get like a host like that, someone who's like out of this world, awesome like character, and then just start putting it together. But that show, I mean, I think the issue with the show was insurance and maybe lawsuits. Like I don't know.
I think this day and age, production companies might be like reluctant to do that nowadays. I don't know.
They just shouldn't have regular people fighting professional fighters. It's just like it has lawsuits written all over it. Like
I wonder what the contracts that those kids had to sign. Man, there must have been a lot of fine print in there that those idiots did not read.
Yeah, because that was not worth the hypothetical or possible 10 grand that they would win if they did good.
You know what's crazy is you look at the fighters, the fighters that went through that show, yourself, Karate Hottie, DC was on that show. There was some absolute like legends. Andre Arlovsky. oh my God. Like the fact that
Jake Shield,
they weren't just bringing in nobody MMA fighters. They were bringing in like top-notch MMA fighters to just smoke some fucking 18, 19-year-old bully.
Daniel Cormier was on there. Joe Riggs. Tyron Woodley.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, dude, I think they paid me $2,500 to go on that show, and I did it. I wore my tap out shirt, and I made a lot more off the royalties of my tap out shirt than I ever did on the show. But like, still to this day, when I do signings, some people only know me as you're the guy who was on Boy Beatdown. They don't even know I had a career or I ever fought. They just go, yo, you were awesome on Boy Beatdown. I'm like, dude, I fought real people. Like I'm a real, like, this is what nah, dude, you're the Boy Beatdown guy. I'm like, all right, man.
So funny, man. I loved that show. That I wish it was still around. Man,
maybe it will come back.
Yeah. Mike and Mish will bring it back as soon as we are not poor anymore. Okay. As soon as once we're not poor, once we're out of the military, we're not poors anymore, Mike. We can bring this thing. That's our new goal in life. Eddie, it's been a pleasure having you on this show. I cannot wait to see this fight with you and Chad Mendez next week. It's really I'm really excited to see how it plays out because I really don't know how the hell this is going to freaking play out, to be honest with you. The styles clash. I mean, we're just happy to see you taking the gloves off and getting in there with the BKFC. If you want to take a second and say some final words, deliver a message that anybody needs to hear, we'll let you get up out of here.
No, I'm just thank everyone for tuning in. You know, we're going on 2 decades of combat. A lot of chaos, a lot of fun. Just thank everybody for hanging in there and joining me on my journey, becoming the best combat sports athlete of all time.
There it is. Definitely one of the best to ever step in the ring, one of the best lightweights ever. Thank you very much for coming on to the show tonight, and we'll see you next week in Denver. Mike, you got anything else for him?
Thank you, and we will see you next week.
All right, buddy.
Guys.
Later.
Later.